I want to talk about the role of other leaders and authorities in our child's life. Many times we're trying to teach our children and help them grow. And one of the ways we do this is by having our children in places where they have to respond to another authority or someone else is speaking into their life. For example, it might be youth leaders or teachers at the school or coaches that they have or music teachers or whatever it might be. And those other leaders and authorities are very important in a child's life because they often can say things that we've been saying to the child, and the child doesn't hear them from us, but is willing to listen to this other person they respect. So we want to look for ways to have other leaders and authorities involved in our children's lives. And we might even have a conversation with that coach and say, one of the things I'm working on with my son is his anger episode. So if you have any opportunity to say something to him or see something happening on the field that you can speak into his life, I would really appreciate it. The same thing's true with teachers. Sometimes parents will be antagonistic toward the teachers. And so there's this kind of you owe me entitlement mentality with the teachers. And so teachers are often very careful about what they say to children. And they may not step in when you might like them to. So I think it's really helpful to say to a teacher, one of the things we're working on with our son is being thoughtful to other people. And so anything you can do in the classroom that would help him to develop more empathy and be thoughtful to others, greatly appreciate that. So please consider that as you're working with my son or my daughter. In doing that, then our children often can hear it better. I remember with my own son, I'm telling him all these things. We have 5 kids in our family, and he was being mean to one of his sisters, and it was just a problem. And it was really interesting that one of the teachers at his Christian school said something in the classroom about how we have a responsibility to look out for others, to be considerate of others and thinking about others. And he came home and he says, I'm going to work on this more. I learned something at school today about just being considerate to other people. And I want to have that kind of reputation. I'm going, whoa, that's really great. I mean, I've been saying this for a long time. But I didn't say that, but that's how you feel when a child gets this idea from this other person and you go, wow, that's really cool. And I appreciate the way these other leaders and authorities are fitting into my child's life. So we want our children to learn how to submit to authority. I like the passage in 1 Peter 2:13 and 14, which says this: submit yourselves for the Lord's sake to every human authority, whether to the emperor as the supreme authority or to governors who are sent by him to punish those who do wrong and to commend those who do right. This responsiveness to leadership is important, and sometimes we develop an attitude that says question authority. And that's not necessarily bad. I think we want children to be able to question authority, but we don't want them to have a cynical attitude toward authority. We want them to realize that God has placed authorities in our lives for very important reasons. Parents are one of those authorities. And when we learn to submit to the authorities in our lives, God does something in our hearts. Even when the authorities are not doing things the best way, even if they're not rewarding those who do good and punishing those who do bad. There's something that takes place when we learn how to submit to authority that does something for us. It builds us more cooperative nature. It helps us to be more humble, to not hold so strongly to our own desires and demands even inside. So teaching children how to do this and then just praying for our kids that God would bring other authorities. I know this is so powerful. Parents of adult children, they're praying, Lord, please bring other Christians, other authorities, a boss or someone into my child's life who can represent you to them. It's so powerful that we involve other leaders and authorities in the lives of our children.